2 seconds here just to confirm, and then we will get it going the way it needs to be. And yes, looks like we are live. I believe we are. Let's see. There we are. We are live. So what's happening, everybody, man? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, Adam Grizzly. As you can see, Scruffaluffagus. I am your host, SimFBallCritic. And thanks for tuning in, man, live from the Steel Basement. And we're definitely going to talk a little bit about UDFAs tonight. I'm going to welcome the services of my good brother Kenyon, hopefully my good brother Tony as well, but at least Kenyon, and we will talk about these UDFAs. You know, we did look at some film. Kenyon and I kind of split the duties, and we'll give you our thoughts on those guys. But before we do that, we're going to make sure the stream is working properly. So Kenyon, if you can hear me already, man, try calling into the line. Any of you guys who are listening already that want to call and ask a question, call into the line, man, and confirm that the queue is working. Please confirm that. And if it's not, then y'all know, just like in football, we'll make a quick audible and we'll still get Kenyon's voice on here. So we'll still, do what we have to do. But let's say hello, man, to some of the early viewers like I always do. What's happening, man, to Drama Sadell, 187, Todd Christian, Steelers Fan 97, Trey Briggs, Michael Garman, Wide Diggy, Lance and Shield, Carlos Castellon. Maybe I'm saying that wrong, but my apologies if I am. My good brother Antoine, what's up, man? We got your Cowboys this year, so that should be a great week whenever that happens. Hello, Miss Lanisha Hayes. How are you doing tonight? Let's see who else is in here. Cesar Diaz is in here. Joseph Della Vecchia. I think I said that correctly. Did I get that right, Joseph? I know you called last week, but I think I got it correct. Let's see. Who else in here? Darren Clark, Y Diggy, Kegels Bagels. What's going on, Kegels? Haven't seen you in a while, man. C. Antoine Hill, Joshua Shields, Odessa Hall Menifee, Anthony Nave. Please forgive me. And let's see. Rough House is in the building. What's going on, Rough House? Let's see what Kenyon said here. Nope, that's somebody else texting me. I thought it was my good brother Kenyon. But yeah, like I said, guys, y'all let me know if you can hear in the queue. Let me know if you can hear me in the queue. So somebody please call in. And Kenyon, if you're listening, please call in, man, and let me know what the deal is. And if not, we'll make a quick audible. He says it must be a LA thing because it's not working. Maybe, man. It could be that. It could be Blog Talk. So let me get one of you guys in the chat to do me a quick favor, man, and we can see what's happening. If somebody can call the number on the screen there, we just want to see if it works. And if it's not working tonight, then y'all know what we say about Blog Talk. But somebody just call that number on the screen. If you can't see it, 619-924-0818. Let me know if you're able to connect. Oh, I got it, Joe. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I'm glad that you actually called and pronounced the name correctly, so I won't mess it up again. The funny story which will help me remember the enunciation, I had a principal, what was it? Assistant principal, actually, in middle school, and his name was Del Vecchio. So that will allow me to remember the Vecchia. Della Vecchia. I don't know. I know that sounds crazy, but that'll help me pronounce it. So let me see. I'll wait 2 seconds to see if the queue's working. All right, so I see you guys called. So whoever that was that called, let me know. Could you hear me in the phone, not just in the stream? Can you hear me in the stream? And look, I forgot to change the hats that I had on earlier. They said I can hear you on the phone. Somebody said, what do you think about the hat? Man, this is an old hat I bought a few years back, man. Just grabbed it. I needed a hat, a black and white Nike hat to wear. This was probably like 5-6 years ago. And yeah, this is what you got. And I forgot to put on my Steelers hat. So let me make an audible really quick and grab one of my Steelers hats. I know it's in here. Appreciate you pointing that out, Steelers fan. Yeah, Kenyon, man, they said it's working. So everyone else is in the queue, so good. At least I'll be able to bring you guys in and allow you guys to perhaps ask some questions. Let me try one other thing, man. Kenyon, I'm gonna give you the host dial-in. Let's see if this one will work. I'm gonna give you the host dial-in number. Let's see if this one works. And if not, we'll move on, man, because I don't want to waste a lot of time, guys. I don't want to do a whole lot of rambling tonight. I want Kenyon and I to just dive right in, start talking about these guys, man, and see if we can knock it out in an hour. Let's see. 60. All right, can you call this number that I just sent you? Let me know if you get in, and if you do, I will give you the PIN number. 1 second, guys. I'm gonna roll away and go get my hat. All right, here I come. Coming back, rolling on back in. Is that better? Told y'all I'd be doing too many things, man. Forgot what hat I had on. I'd be doing too many things at one time, man. So we're going to wait 2 seconds, guys, and I promise we're going to jump into it, man. If it doesn't work, we'll use Skype. Hopefully we can get Kenyon in on this line, man, because it's so much easier where you guys, he'll be able to hear y'all as well. That's why I want him to call in through this method. Okay. Let me get him the pin. Let him get him the pin. He said he got through. All right. We're going to wait 2 seconds, man. He said he got through. So hopefully, as I stretch the LY right there, hopefully he'll get in. Appreciate y'all being very patient, man. But I promise y'all, I think it's going to be worth the wait. Because we did our little due diligence and scouted these guys, looked at some film. And I didn't even look at other people's scouting reports. I'm pretty sure Steelers Depot and guys like that probably did draft profiles, and I didn't even look because I want to see, I want it to be organic. I don't want to read somebody else's thoughts or hear somebody else's thoughts on the guy, and then it creeps in my mind as I'm watching him. So I always like to give my thoughts, and again, I'm not a scout. I'm a what my eyes tell me type of guy, right? So I could even be wrong on a guy, and he might turn out to be great or turn out to be bad. But I go off what my eyes say. I don't do all of the analytics and all that. So it's always cool to do that and then go see with some of the people who, quote unquote, do it professionally, how your thoughts measure up to those guys. So it's always interesting to do that. But in the meantime, man, I'm going to, as I wait for Kenyon, I'm going to get, go ahead and look in the chat and see what some of you guys got really quick. In the meantime, in between time, Steelers fan says Sim got that Big Ben beard. Yeah, man, I said I won't gonna do no haircut or anything until this madness is over. And I hope everybody is, speaking to that, I hope everybody is safe. I hope everybody's well. Dwayne Duncantail says, how's everyone doing? Louisiana is in here. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. How you doing? C. Antoine Hill says, Sim, do you see Trey Lance? I didn't watch Trey Lance yet. The funny thing is, though, and I said I was going to watch him last week, and I didn't get a chance to watch him that night. I will definitely watch him this week. If I have some time tonight, I'll try to knock it out soon, but I was trying to watch some of these other guys, and schedule got kind of out of whack. But the funny thing about him, right, after the show, I go to YouTube, and there's a recommended video for this guy saying the quarterback no one has heard of. And they said he threw 42 touchdowns or something like that. And I was like, wow. The guys just told me about him when I was on the show, and here he is in my recommended feed or whatever, which, that's always weird to me. How these devices and apps and things like that are listening to you. So that's a tip for any of you guys. Have you ever noticed when you go to an app on your phone, you download an app and a lot of times it says, would you like to allow microphone? When you do that, that's basically what's happening. Especially something like a Pinterest. I know my wife used Pinterest a lot. You could be talking about something and next thing you know, you look at Pinterest, it's right there. That's because you've allowed the microphone and it's listening to you. Crazy, right? All right, let's see what Kenyon says. That I don't know. Don't know, Kenyon. Hold on. I'm going to try something real quick. So I just texted to you, but I'm sure you're listening too, man. I'm going to try shooting you an invite to be a co-host via email. And we'll do it that way, because maybe when you called in, it might be thinking that you're me. And I'm already on as the host. We're going to get it together, guys. Again, man, I appreciate y'all bearing with me, man. And for the new listeners, I promise you, the show is not this rough. Ask anybody who's watching. I promise you, man, we're just trying to deal with Blog Talk. Sometimes Blog Talk Radio is crazy and it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So, all right, Kenya, man, just shot you an invitation via email. So I'm assuming what it's going to do is allow you to connect directly using your microphone on the mic as if we were on Skype, because that's how I connect to Blog Talk Radio. As all of you guys can see, I'm not on a telephone, right? But I'm on a phone line. And this has been the difficulty I've had trying to go to another service. Even that service that one of you guys recommended to me, Call-In Studio, theirs doesn't work quite like this, but they did say I could call in directly using Skype. But I'm trying to see if I can do a trial run with them. There's a trial option. I want to see if I could do that maybe offline before bringing it to you guys on the show to see how it fares. Even though Blog Talk Radio doesn't work as consistent as I needed to, as it once did, the service is exactly what I need. And that's what makes it tough. It's almost like they're holding me a bit hostage. And I'm going to just have to kick and scream a little more and get some money refunded if it doesn't work consistently. But this system works exactly the way I want it. I can dial in directly with my microphone. I don't have to call a phone line. I can queue you guys calls, bring you in, bring you out. That's what I need. There's no sign in that anybody needs. There's no account. And that's how I want it. And I think I got Kenyon on. Let me open his mic and let's see if he can hear me. Can you hear me, Kenyon?
Okay.
Good. All right, guys. Y'all let us know really quick before we start talking. Can y'all hear Kenyon? So Kenyon, say a little something and let the people see if they can hear you.
Hello. How is everybody doing today?
All right, y'all let us know, man. They calling you Kenyon the Scout in the queue I see here in the chat.
I'm not a scout.
It does sound...
Just a detailed fan.
Oh, there you go. It's good now. I was going to say it do sound a tad bit choppy, but it was good right there. All right. Yes, they can hear you. So, all right, guys. Without further ado, this is what we're going to talk about tonight. Going to talk about the UDFAs. We appreciate you being patient with me, man, trying to get this thing to work the way I needed to. And look at Roughhouse saying right now the number's telling him that it can't be completed. That's dialed. Listen, Blog Talk, man, is driving me 100% crazy, but we're going to figure it out. But anyway, this is what we decided to do. We excluded a punter and somebody else. Who was the other guy we excluded? I can't remember. Let me see. Punter and Who was the other guy we excluded? Was it a long snapper or something like that? We excluded
Fullback.
fullback. There it is. I couldn't remember. Fullback and a punter. We're not talking about those guys. We're going to talk about everybody else, which will mainly be Calvin Taylor, defensive end. Josiah Coatney, D tackle. Who else we got here? Christian Montano, a center. Trajan Bandy, DB from Miami. Linebacker John Houston, which Kenyon, of course, knows very well, so he will be talking about him. Linebacker Leo Lewis, and DB James Pierre. And I think those are the guys that we have. I looked at Bandy. We both took a look at Taylor. And I also, Lockhart. I can't forget him, the James Lockhart guy. I looked at him. And Kenyon looked at the other guys, which were Pierre. Who else we got here?
Montoya.
Yeah, that guy, and Houston. And there you have it. So the question is going to be, guys, after we talk about what we think about these guys, the question, like I have in the title, is who do you think has a chance to make the team? Is it 1, 2, or none? And we'll go into it like that. So, Kenya, man, we might as well talk about. Let's talk about the bad guys first, I guess. The ones we didn't feel too good about. Might as well get them out the way. And I'm going to start real fast here with who we got. Who did I not like? Leo Lewis. Man.
Yeah.
Guys, and this is an eye test assessment. I'm not a scout. It's just an eye test assessment. My eye test comes from me having playing football and the things that I've learned over the years watching professional football, as well as the things that I watch with our Steelers. That's where it comes from. I don't look at players and say he's great here, great there, bad here, bad there. He won't work. No, I'm just looking at how does he fit with what I think the Steelers would do. And from a football mind watching the TV, what looks good, what looks bad. And let me tell you, no disrespect, Leo Lewis, if this happens to get to you somehow, I mean, stranger things have happened. This guy is just not it, folks. He plays very slow. And I don't mean just speed. I mean low motor. He's late to recognize what's happening on the field. I mean, so many times that I'll give you guys an example for you guys that play Madden. Y'all know how, and this is something I always argue against, but y'all know how sometimes when you're playing a game like Madden, right, and your defender is coming towards the play, and then all of a sudden he goes right into the blocker. This guy literally plays like that in real life. It's like he's late to diagnose, and when he gets there, it's an automatic block. I mean, I've seen guards having a field day with him, knowing that, yeah, we running in this gap, and don't worry about him. I'm going to knock that part. You're going to get 3, 4, or 5 yards at least, because don't worry about him. That's how it looked to me. He looks like he's always thinking, not reactionary. And anybody that knows football or plays sports, period, you can't. It's a thinking man's game. I know that's a cliche, but I think you guys know what I'm saying when I say you cannot be thinking on the football field at all times. Things have to be reactionary. I mean, of course, it's a thinking man's game, but you have to react to what's happening. He don't have that. At least to the eye, it doesn't look like he's playing naturally, relying on what talent, he feels he has or what attribute he feels he has. It don't look like none of that. It just looks like this kid is he's just out there. No urgency. However, not all negative. He did show a couple flashes with taking on blocks well when he decided to, meaning that if it was a lead or a counter or a draw, something like that where you got a lead blocker, there was a few times when he'd run up in there and, knock out the block as he's supposed to. and he allowed somebody else to make the tackle with maybe a yard or so after that, clogged it up a bit, but it wasn't enough. And I watched him against, top tier talent in terms of, where he played at, and I watched some more subpar teams. So I try to watch those kind of games. I watch what I consider the better competition that the team has played, maybe a mid-level, and then also I watch a lower tier team to see how the player plays. And I didn't see any difference, man. At times, he did show a nice block shed and a tackle. Nothing to write home about, though, folks. And again, if y'all know who he is and I got it wrong, it's just my opinion. But that's all I got, man. I don't see Leo Lewis as a candidate of making the team. I hate to throw this label on him because, we know in Pittsburgh, we can't always say this anymore because guys make the team. But he is literally a camp body to me. I don't see him surviving. I don't see him beating out Spillane as another inside linebacker. And that's just how I feel about it. Not even that other kid. Remember that dude we had a year or two ago? He might still be here. Galamos. I don't even see him beating that dude if he was still there. That's how bad I feel about this guy. Next. Whoever you want to talk about, Kenya, let's go to the next one. That's my assessment. So throw me one of your bad guys, man. One of the worst guy that you looked at as far as the UDFA. Uh-oh, guys, did we lose Kenya? Oh, he's muted. There he is. He called back. All right, I got him back. All right, Kenya, you can probably hear me now. Give me your worst UDFA out of the guys you scouted. And before that, if you have any opinion on what I said about Lewis, feel free.
No, I watched Lewis. I don't know. I mean, if that's your system, I would have to agree because I don't think the inside linebackers that they brought in potentially make the squad. So I don't, I guess when I get to John, I didn't get to see him, so I can only go with your assessment. So, hey, that's what you think. I'm with you. As far as the guys out that were, the first guy we'll talk about is James Pierre, the cornerback out of Florida Atlantic.
They're saying real quick, Kenya. They say your audio is choppy. They say it's sputtering in and out it's choppy every other word.
Okay. Tell me if that's better.
That sounds a little better right there.
Okay. Let me know in the chat if it's all good.
If not, we're going to go ahead and be proactive. Let me pull up Skype.
Yeah. Because
we know it works just fine in there. It could be a blog talk thing, man. And I tell y'all, man, this is a never-ending battle with these guys. And unfortunately, when it works perfect. That's the thing that kills me. It's like I can't find another service that's quite like this one. Call-in studio might be okay. And again, whoever recommended that, I can't remember right now. I'm going to see if I can do their trial and see if that works. But it seems like it still might not be quite like Blog Talk Radio. And I know it's oxymoron for me to say that because Blog Talk don't even work half of the time. But so, all right, man. Y'all let me know if Kenyon is still choppy. If not, I have Skype up. And we'll call him that way. Go ahead, Kenyon. Say something. Oh, okay, yeah, it dropped off. So let's call Kenyon on Skype, guys. It's all about audibles, man. We talk about football, right? Excuse the loud chime right there with Skype. All right, 1 second. Let's try him again. 1 second.
Yo.
There he is. And don't sound choppy whatsoever. So, all right, guys, to bring y'all up to speed, man, Kenyon is going to discuss, what's his name again? Pierre, right? The DB?
Yeah, James Pierre. Yeah, DB out of Florida Atlantic. Basically, I watched 2 games against Ohio State. I would say third play of the game, he was in a broken coverage. He ran with the underneath receiver, and Justin Fields, who everybody in chat seems to love, threw a dart for a touchdown. Next time, he got beat on a double move. So my first impression of him wasn't good. Let me just say that. and I watched another game with him, and the things that I got from him were basically not overly physical. He's kind of like an off coverage cornerback. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how good he is in man. He's lanky. Not great play recognition. He is, however, a willing tackler, and he played better in the second game I watched, which was against SMU. But he was matched up against James Prochet, who the Ravens picked up this year. And James Prochet was beating him, and he was physically beating him. So he would push him off. He would get open. He could get into his routes easy. So my impressions of James Prochet, my impressions of Pierre is that he's kind of like, I guess if you want a project, and maybe he can develop, because he does have the body type. I would say, I think he's about a good 6'1", lanky. He would have to get in the weight room. I would say that. I'm not sure about his long speed. And I mean, those 2 games just showed me a lot of holes. So I don't know. I guess that's why he's UDFA. But he has some positive traits. So it's not an all negative thing. He has some positive traits that I did like. I liked his size. I liked that he was a willing tackler. What I didn't like was that his play recognition wasn't great, especially against Ohio State. It was just obvious. Like, he just ran with the underneath receiver. So it was 2 DBs on one guy. And I was like, oh no. And, wide receiver was wide open. And it happened twice. So, I mean, that's my assessment of him from what I saw. I saw 2 games. I didn't see 3. I saw 2.
Yeah, and that's very telling, man. I was telling Kenyon that earlier. When we text back and forth, normally what I like to do is watch 3 games. And, y'all know our styles are a little different. We still same result. What I normally do, I try to find the defensive all snaps or offensive all snaps. If I'm looking, depending on what side of the ball the guy plays on. I have graduated, though, now to I'll look at the whole game and just go to the defense or just go to the offense. So I might see a few people, that sides of the other side of the ball or what have you, but if I don't watch 3 games, that's not good. And that's how it was with Leo Lewis. I text Kenyon, was like, man, I didn't even get to a 3rd game. He just, no disrespect. Again, listen, you played college ball and it looks like you lasted for a few years, but nah, just not what I'm looking for. So for Kenyon to say he didn't watch many games, then that should tell you how we feel about the player. So moving on, guys, to the next person, I'll go with Baylor, James Lockhart, DN tackle. I will say, before I get to this guy, Calvin Taylor, I felt like is better suited than James Lockhart. So now let me just talk about Lockhart. Not all bad. He showed a couple times, man, that he has a nice swim move. He has decent hand usage. The only problem, though, is that he doesn't win much. He has the same problem. Again, he's a DN, so I don't want to compare him to a pass rusher. However, what I see out of him, he's more of a pass rushing DN. Against the run, he just wasn't good at all. He would have to get a lot stronger. He's not stout at all. He doesn't set the edge. He just gets washed up. A lot of times I saw him on his back a lot. But I will say he's pass rush capable. You know, he has a little rip. He has a swim move. He fights with his hands. He just doesn't win that often. He got handled a lot in one-on-one situations. And I mean, you know, if you're playing a good offensive lineman, that might happen. But what I'm saying by handle, nowhere close to the quarterback. He had the same problem that I think a lot of us say about Bud Dupree prior to this year, and Bud still has this a little bit. He gets way too far up the field, man. You know, it's easy for the tackle to just get set and just ride him on out. That's all he does. Every now and then he'll do his little swim and rip and try to get back inside, but 90% of the time he's just trying to use what it looks like he's a little quick for his size. He tries to use his speed and try to get around the edge, and you can just ride him on out. I mean, think about Tom Brady, how Brady just easily steps up in the pocket. Like somebody like Brady, his little movement would kill this dude trying to pass rush. But like I said, he's a DN, but, you know, still in Pittsburgh and base, if we were in 3-4, you got to look at our guys kind of like pass rushers, you know, a Tuitt and a Haywood. But other than that, man, he does show effort. You know, I saw, you know, in the games that I watch, he does show that he, you know, what they used to teach, John Mitchell used to teach our guys is, you know, I want to see you running 7 yards down the field, even longer, you know, find the football. I did see some of that in him, but I don't think he makes the team, man. He just plays on both sides. I've seen him on the left side, seen him on the right side, but he just very, very, very much a developmental piece. You know, maybe you practice squad him and see if you can get him a little stronger, teach him a little more technique because, like I said, he has moves. You know, more than what you normally see in a 3-4 type of DN type, you know, how he would play with us. He just doesn't win. He doesn't win. And I watched the game against Oklahoma, and then I think I watched the game against Kansas State, and I forgot who else I watched, but pretty much the same consistency with all teams, even though I would say I felt like he played better against Oklahoma. Go figure. But, yeah, it's another guy I don't think would make the team, man. I think, you know, at best, maybe practice squad. And that's about all I got on him. Are you familiar with him at all, Kenya?
No, I'm not. I think when we chose players, once you picked your players, I didn't go check them out, except for I guess we both checked out the same player, which is kind of good. But I didn't see too much on him. I don't know what his. I would like to see. I might have to watch. You might have to send me a link because I might want to check him out a little bit and see what's up. But I don't know how much, you know, what his odds are making the squad, even the practice squad, for that matter. So it's one of those things. But you know, with him, it's the UDFAs. It's so. I mean, Sim said this earlier. It's so funny. It's so tough to watch the UDFAs because it's like you just not that they can't make the roster, but your mindset is like you're just so focused on the draft picks. But you have to watch the UDFAs because you can't get somebody out of the UDFAs. So,
yeah.
But I didn't watch him a lot. I didn't check him out at all, actually. So, yeah, I might have to go back and, you know, sneak and check him out a little bit. But no, I don't know. I mean, like I said, your assessment of him, I go with your assessment. I trust your analysis of him, so I don't really worry about it. If that's what you think, I'm with it.
You know what's funny that I find out, man, watching some of these guys that are not the premier guys. You know, like when we look at dudes that we think that are going to be drafted, whether it's 1st through 7th, you watch their film, they seem to be pretty talented, or at least talented enough for somebody to look at them. But when you start watching these UDFAs, what I start realizing is there's a lot of college football players that are just so-so on good teams. You know, Baylor balled out last year. So you would think off of name recognition and the way they played and where they ranked, oh, they must have been all right. But no, looking at an old boy, he's okay. He ain't nothing to write home about as far as defensively. A couple other guys on the team, was jumping up. I didn't look at their names, but I was recognizing the same numbers. Like, okay, this dude on another tackle. Oh, this guy getting more pressure. But I ain't really see that from him. The games I watched, I think out of the 3 games I watched, I want to say he ended up with, there were 2 sacks, but they were effort sacks. They weren't, and not saying that's bad, guys, but what I'm saying is they weren't the quality. Like, we've seen TJ Watt get quality sacks where he just beat his guy and it was a sack off rip. There was nothing the quarterback was going to be able to do. He won at the point of contact, and boom. I ain't see none of that with Lockhart. Didn't see none of that at all, man. And that's another thing I wrote here on my notes. He's not strong at all at point of contact. Not at all. The point of attack, he is not. I don't know. He's just not. I can't wait, man. And I would say watch that game, and I'll send you the link that I watched. Watch the Baylor game, Baylor versus Oklahoma, and that'll give you a good assessment of, I guess, what he really is. That's probably the stiffest competition he faced. But yeah, he's not really there, man. Who's next?
And that's tough because you're white. That's tough because you're watching the Oklahoma game and you just look to the other side of the ball on the Oklahoma side and you see like studs. Man. You know what I mean? So it's kind of tough. It's
Jalen Hurts
the next guy would be.
I will say that, folks, for those folks who wanted him, Hurts looked pretty good in that game, man. He made some throws.
Hurts looked good in a lot of games. Like every game I saw Oklahoma play, I thought he looked good in it. I just wasn't, jumping for. I wasn't on the bandwagon to draft him. That was my thing. I mean, you can look good in college. A lot of people look great in college. Yeah, it's all projection. Do you think they can fit with the Steelers, or do they look like a Steeler?
Exactly.
So, but the next guy is the center out of Tulane that Sim pushed to me. I didn't ask for this guy, but he sent him to me anyway. Is Christian Montano out of Tulane center. This is gonna be quick. Basically, he's an inline blocker. He's good at the point of attack, being an inline blocker. You don't want to put him on counters, or he's not athletic. That's the best way I can tell you guys. He's not athletic. So if you have him in line and you just want to do straight up, power runs and all that stuff, he's great. I did see him. He's pretty strong. I never saw him really get knocked back, but he's not athletic at all. So, and if you look at it this way, he's behind 2 people, to try to win a spot, basically. So, from what I saw, the 2 games that I saw, and it was hard getting any type of film on him, and I wasn't watching the full Tulane game. That wasn't happening. So, but from what I saw, he's very strong, but he's like an inline blocker. I guess in the mold, I guess is who we just lost. I guess you could say he's like that, but that's the best I can give you on him. He didn't wow me in any way, and I'm not one of those people that don't like watching offensive linemen. I'll watch them, especially if they're studs, and all that. But he didn't wow me. He was just a nice inline blocker, and I give him. I don't even know if I give him a 1% chance of making the squad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real with y'all. So
well, no point in really watching him, to be honest.
Yeah, that's why he gave him to me. Yeah.
You know what? To be honest with you, though, I didn't even pay attention to his position when I was looking at the names. I kind of was just looking at the list. I was like, all right, I'll go this, I'll do this, I'll do that.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't even know we had got the fullback. That's why I was like, wait a minute, punter and a fullback.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But that's my only assessment I have of him. The best trait I saw was his strength and his ability to, and he couldn't get to the second level on a consistent basis. So that stood out to me in the 2 games that I watched. And I didn't watch 3. And I mean, and like Sim will say, I usually watch full games, and Sim will tell you this. I'll watch full games because you can just learn so much watching full games. But I kind of went the Sim method. I did the cut up and just focused on him, and but I wasn't sitting there going, hey, he looks like a steal. I wasn't saying that, but he can surprise us and can't. So, but my assessment isn't great. He doesn't look, overly. I'm not excited about it.
Yeah, you're right, man, with the full games, because I started learning whenever I have watched a full game is you can really kind of try to hone in on what the game plan is for the defense and the offense and see how the coaching adjusts and, what they're asking certain guys to do. So I definitely understand that part of it, too. Next up, Calvin Taylor, defensive end from Kentucky. One thing I would say is they had a couple studs on that team, man.
Yeah.
Their defense was pretty stout. And when I was watching it, I'm sitting there trying to compare him to Lockhart. And then I was like, you know what? Some of the things that I had to say this to myself. Some of the things that you're saying, it ain't fair because Kentucky's front is stout. So all of that you're seeing ain't just because of Taylor. It's this number 90. There was another cat, 92, I think, number 59. Like, these dudes were doing their thing. But I will say about Taylor, he's a basketball guy. They said, I guess he came to Kentucky as an AAU basketball player. And I'm going to use Kenya's words, he is a bit of a project. We both noticed the same thing, man. His block shedding isn't the greatest, but I do see a little potential in him. It looks like he has some athleticism. It's funny, he does kind of remind you of Tuitt, the way he looks in movement. Not the way he plays, but
exactly
kind of the way he looks. The way he... Think about Tuitt before Tuitt, kind of trimmed his body a little bit. Reminds you of the bigger Tuitt. Definitely don't play up to Tuitt's level. I mean, especially if we talking about how crazy good Tuitt was in the first 3 games this last year. Oh my God, he ain't that. But I do see some positivity there with him, man. And I was telling Kenyon earlier, he reminds me of a prototypical old school 3-4 Steelers DN. More so like, and I'm not even gonna say he's on these guys' level, but think about a Brett Kiesel and an Aaron Smith, like what those guys were asked to do. This dude looks like he fits the mold a little, way more so than Lockhart would. Raw talent though, and I have to agree with Kenyon. It's gonna be on, can you develop him? Is this a guy you can, hide on your practice squad? Looking at our depth right now, I don't know if he's gonna make it. And I did forget, and I will let you guys know honestly, I forgot about Kayvon Walker last week. I think when we were talking about the numbers, so Carlos Davis might not make it. I need to go look at Kayvon Walker now and see what I would think about him versus Davis. Because last week I wasn't adding him into the numbers when I was saying Steelers usually keep this amount of people as far as the D-line. So when you add Kayvon Walker in there, who's definitely going to compete with Davis, the chances of another defensive lineman, now that we have Wormley, we already have Alulu, you got Cam, you got Tuitt who's coming back,
got Mondru.
Oh yeah, there you go. So McCullers, I mean, I don't know, but I would say if we're gonna say who's a practice squad guy and who might show up when a couple flashes, especially in these extra preseason games, keep an eye on Calvin Taylor, man. I think he is a developmental piece that might have some talent. I like his size, his length. I would assume, and it shows up a little bit on the field, but I would assume he has some athleticism being a basketball player. So I like the potential there. That, like, again, just think about what you kind of saw from a Stephon Tuitt in college. Not as good, but I think he could have that type of development, with the right coaching, looking at his raw skill. definitely has some block shedding issues, man. But he's way more stout against the run than Lockhart was. Clearly, that stood out to me right away. It was like, oh, okay, he's more one of those type of DNs. He's not the pass rush first type of guy. So that's my little assessment on him, man. I think he has a chance to stick around. I just don't think he'll make the 53.
Yeah, to add to Sam, since we both watched him, we were texting each other, and he's a base 3-4 defensive end. That's the best way you can put it. He's a base 3-4 defensive end. You can't. He's not sub package. Like Sim said, you could think to it. I won't even call him a poor man's to it, because poor man means has a little bit. He's way off.
Yeah.
But you have to look at it this way. You have to look at it this way. Daniel McCullers was way off.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Daniel McCullers was way off. Think about that. Daniel McCullers was supposed to get cut 4 times, and he made the squad each time. So, I agree with Sim. He is athletic. He has big issues with shedding blocks, but I will give him this much credit. He played way better in the bowl game, as opposed to the game I saw, which was South Carolina.
Yeah, he did.
South Carolina game, he didn't play well. In the bowl game, he played way better. Even got a sack, like a cover sack. So, he's, like he said, he's good against the run. He's a big boy. If the Steelers can work with him and develop him, but like Sim said, it's gonna be real hard. I mean, like Sim said, you got to almost stash him on the practice squad and hope nobody scoops him up, because there's too many defensive linemen that the Steelers have right now. It's too many guys. So, that's my assessment. I agree with him. We both saw him play, so we both can give the same analysis on the players so far. So, I mean, that's all I have on him.
Yeah, he's a big kid, man.
Yeah,
huge. Huge. Who else was it, man? Oh, Houston. Yeah, definitely tell us about Houston.
John Houston was a basic bio, was a 4 to 5-star linebacker coming out of Sarah High School. I've said this before. I think he was, that's the high school out here in Los Angeles, which has produced a lot of NFL players that are actually playing in the NFL right now. And he was a 4 to 5-star guy, went to USC. He's about 6'1", 220, maybe 225, 220. He's around that 220, 225 era. Really fast. He's a fast linebacker. I would give him this. To me, his best year was his sophomore year. That's the year I thought he played the best. His senior year, he had more responsibilities, which they kind of gave him more like play calling responsibilities. He was the Mike in their defense, and he played okay, but that could be attributed to a number of things. The one thing I will give him this is why I think he has a shot, and it's not because he went to USC. The reason why I think he has a shot is because he played in a pro defense for 4 years. Clancy Pendergrass was the defensive coordinator for USC, and Clancy Pendergrass, as most people know, was the defensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals, who we beat in the Super Bowl. He was the D coordinator. So he's played in that type of a defense. He has good read and react skills. He can shed blocks, but I don't know if he can do it at the NFL level because he's fast. He's not strong. He's fast. He's like a fast linebacker. And so if he can get bigger, he might have a shot. I give him a better shot at making the roster if he can stick on special teams. He will play special teams. He played special teams at USC for 4 years. And he prided himself in doing it. He doesn't have great hands. I've seen him drop a lot of balls, a lot of interceptions in his 4 years at USC. But like I said, his sophomore year was his best tape. His junior year, I thought he dipped. And his senior year, I thought he played kind of even. So maybe that's – I don't know what the reason is, but there are things I do like about him. But there are things to me that may hamper him at the next level because he's not a big guy.
You know what I'm saying? He's like a fast linebacker. He's like, think if Ulysses Gilbert was skinny, that's John Houston. But Ulysses Gilbert is not really skinny. You know what I mean? So it's like John Houston would have to get like a little bit bigger, get in that weight room. So, but he's very fast, and you know, he played, like I said, his best tape is his sophomore year. I thought his sophomore year he played really good. But the last 2 years are kind of like, you know, his junior year I thought I'm not gonna say he sucked. His junior year I didn't think he played well at all. And then his senior year he was kind of even, and you know, but we'll see. I mean, somebody said in the chat that he's kind of tight. He's not really tight. He's just the thing is that in that defense that they were running, that USC ran, which is a hybrid 4-3, John Houston was moved around a lot. So his sophomore year, he kind of played outside. His junior year, he played outside on the other side. And then his senior year, they moved him to the middle. So his best position might be outside linebacker, but he's not big enough to play that. So they have to move him inside. And Tomlin does like versatility, and he is versatile. That's the positive. He's versatile. So that's my assessment of him. He has an okay shot at making the squad. That's all I'm giving him.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard too, man. Just listening to a few other people. But I trust, man, Kenyon's assessment of that. Clearly, you know, Kenyon being out there in LA, knew about the kid in high school. He's a USC fan, so obviously he watched him. So I trust everything that he said. I didn't know much about him, but that's all I need to hear. If that's how Kenyon feels about him, then that's what I'm gonna roll with. The last guy I will talk about, man, is who you guys see in the screenshot, the thumbnail, who I actually think has a great chance of making the squad. Before I do that, though, and again, guys, we like to have fun and share opinions and things like that on the show. It's not, nobody's right, nobody's wrong. But sometimes I have to comment on certain things that I see in the chat. So I want to say what's up and give a shout out to Nolan Rice. I'm going to go back to his lead comment that, you know, had me follow the rest of the conversation. He said he loves the Steelers, but sometimes we play games. And he's referring to the draft. He says the Ravens don't play games when it comes to drafting. Fair. Ravens do seem to have good drafts a lot. So the question that I posed in the chat, and I haven't seen anybody comment on it, but I said, does every player the Ravens draft turn into a success? Right? But the reason why I asked that question is the next thing I started seeing is Nolan started listing all of the busts from the Steelers. So I'll read them here. He says, Artie Burns, bust. Sammy Coates, bust. Jarvis Jones, bust. Landry Jones, bust. But here's the thing. This is what y'all have to remember. This happens to every team. But what about the banging? I rarely hear people talking about the super hit draft picks that the Steelers have made.
Right.
I don't hear it. I never hear it. And I'm not saying that the Steelers are great in this area, that area, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm saying this happens with every team. There's no team in the NFL that every player they pick works out. So it's cool. I understand where it comes from because, again, guys, trust me, we all have been down this road. When you're a fan of something, you have tunnel vision. When you're a Steelers fan, some of you guys, that's all you think about is what we should have did, what we could have did, what we would have did, why we didn't do this. But you don't look at everything else. It happens to fans because you're only worrying about your team. So anything else that's done decent, you feel like, oh, see, we should have did that. Like me and my father-in-law Leonard used to have these conversations during the season. Anytime we watching another game, right, and you see a player do something, see why we can't have it? I'm like, come on, man. We're not gonna be excellent in every single area. It just don't work like that. But look at Minka. Look at Devin Bush. Look at T.J. Watt. Look at what Ryan Shazier was. Look at what Le'Veon Bell was. Look at Antonio Brown. I mean, I could keep going with the guys who hit. The Super Bowls that most of you guys saw that we won, who got them for you? Who drafted them? The Steelers. I'm just saying, it's easy to think that we don't never do anything right when we're not winning the way we are normally, accustomed to see them win. I get it, but we can't just. Oh yes, they did. Thad Radcliffe says they missed on Brashard Perriman. Thank you. And that ain't a knock on Perriman. It's just to let everybody know this happens with every team. The Ravens do seem to draft well, but all of their players don't hit, bro. None of it. No team does that. So that's all I'm saying. And as far as the run game, go ahead, King.
I'll just add this: when when people do this, I'm not talking about you, Noel. I'm just saying in general. Here's the funny thing: you draft every year. You usually get seven picks, correct? Yeah. Every pick that you pick will not hit.